A few weeks ago, I said that if you get someone like Madeline Stowe to be on your show, there has to be a reason. And that reason is you need someone to be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. The sixth episode is here. It is called In the Name of the Father. And if we've spent a great deal of this series talking about the past history of the entity of Pennywise and how it came to Earth and the Native Americans, this episode deals with how he chose the manifestation of Pennywise and the direct connection it sort of has to someone in Derry. Terrifying connections, if you will. I also want to say that unlike any other show, probably since The Watchmen, has a show felt so unapologetically black in an episode. Like, this is a 90% of the people that take place or are at the forefront of this episode are black. And those that are not are in a storyline that is directly connected to said African Americans. It's fascinating that this show has become, especially in the time that it is set, become so strong and so pertinent with African American characters and culture. I love it. Not making me upset at all, but I know some of you not a fan. This episode opens with Ingrid, young Ingrid, which I think age-wise probably early 20s, because I would place her in her 50s-ish in the current timeline, and then probably in the 70s, 80s by the time she gets to chapter 1 and chapter 2. So you get to see her as a candy striper. She's not a head or anything of importance at Juniper Hill. She's just a candy striper. We open the scene with her taking a young girl named Mabel down to the basement to follow up on the belief that this girl said she saw Pennywise there. She takes her down, and Pennywise does show himself. And while Mabel is completely frightened, shitless, like just terrified, you can see that Ingrid is at a place of peace. Like, she feels very calm and at peace with seeing Pennywise, which will come back as a very important piece on the back end of this episode. So then we come to present day, and Leroy is reading Will the Riot Act. He is giving him the business because he's now actually seen what it is these kids have been chasing. He knows what Pennywise did to him and how he lost his friend. He doesn't want Will to go spend any more time with his friends or spend any more time in Derry. From this point forward, you need to stay on this airbase and not be a part of whatever the hell is happening there. And Will's like, nah, that ain't gonna work for me, Dad. And his process of how he got there, it's like, Dad, I want to be like you. You've always raised me to say, don't leave your friends behind. Don't stop until the mission's complete. Like, I am doing this for my friends. And I'm not going to be like you in this instance. I'm not going to let my friends die, which, yeah, I don't think it's the right thing to do, but I can see how Leroy's reaction was to smack the shit out of Will, and which he does, which clearly is not a normal thing that this family has seen happen, because both the way that Will reacts and the way that Charlotte reacts, this is out of the norm. But if you thought Will was going to stick around before you slapped him, he sure as hell isn't going to do so after you did. So Will takes off. We then catch up with the kids who are at their clubhouse. We do see throughout Derry that people are putting wanted posters of Hank all over the place. And so while we come back to the kids, they're having a conversation, but Ronnie is just staring at the wanted poster of her dad. And Lily is going over with the kids like, this dagger that I got, I think this is our answer to defeating whatever it is that's bothering us. Because when I was down there, it stopped attacking me because of this. And she's like, I think what we need to do is to come all together again. And now that we have this, go back down there and face them man to man, mano a mano. And they're all like, all right, that sounds like a good idea. Except for Ronnie, who was like, no. Why the hell do we keep listening to you? Of all the people here, we keep listening to the crazy girl who keeps telling us to go back down there, because we just went down there and we almost lost our lives. Everything was because of you, and we didn't need to do that. Why are you the leader? Why is everybody listening to you? And then they start trading barbs back and forth that gets real personal. As you can tell, the tensions of people's fuses are getting really short in Derry, and their anger is rising, something that just sort of happens in Derry as a whole. And they start trading insults like, hey, I wish I never met you. Wish I never met you. Had I not been in this situation, I would have done this, this, and this, and forth, to the point where it gets real personal. And Ronnie calls her crazy, which doesn't sit well with Lily. She doesn't like being called that. Ronnie really has no time for this anymore. She has a one-track mind, and it's about her father, who now is wanted all over Derry. While they're arguing, the new voice of reason, Rich, says, hey, this is what they want. He's the only person that actually makes sense here. Like, this is what Pennywise wants. This is what the entity wants us to do. They want us to sort of fight against each other and split apart. But neither of them are in the brain right now to hear this. They all split out. So everybody splinters off. Ronnie takes off. Will follows after her. Rich and Mark stay behind. And then Lily just books out. Will follows Ronnie and kind of is like, hey, you're a little harsh there. And Ronnie's like, okay, maybe I was. But we just can't keep following her. Like, she doesn't understand what we are going through. And it's a little bit of a black thing where they're kind of like, we have an added layer of making sure that my dad gets okay versus her. She doesn't care as much. It doesn't have this the same weight for her as it does for us. And Will's like, look, no matter what happens, I will be here for you. We will get through this together. And they have a moment. They hug. They look like they're about to kiss. And then Charlotte arrives. It's like, if y'all don't get y'all disobedient, fast asses in this car, we're going to have a problem. And so she collects Will and Ronnie, and they drive off. We then see the Dick returns back to the black spot, and he's clearly been gone for a couple of days. They haven't seen him in a while. He hasn't been sleeping, so he's kind of there to just grab some alcohol, get some drinks, and kind of just rest. He can't sleep because all he's seeing is dead people. Even in this moment, he's just looking around. He can just see that his eyes are always engaged, and he's always seeing something that no one else can see. He's about to go lay down, and they tell him, like, hold on, wait. Before you go lay down, I wanted to let you know that there's somebody in there. Hank is there. And then he's like, wait, what? The man who's like wanted number one? What are we doing right now? And they're like, yeah. Charlotte, Leroy's wife, brought him here and said to keep him here, hold him here for a couple of days until she figures out what she's going to do. Dick's like, y'all crazy. I don't want any parts of this. I already got enough stuff going on in my brain. I'm out. As he's about to leave, Charlotte arrives with the two kids, and Ronnie runs to her dad's like, where is he? Get to see my dad. And so they got to finally have a first connection that they have not had since, I would say, episode 2, when he got arrested. Yeah. They haven't had any type of connection. And so that triggers something in Will to sort of say, oh, my dad's an a-hole right now because he just smacked the crap out of me. But Charlotte is sort of there to sort of collect him and make him feel, say, like, hey, I know things are weird. We will get through this. While at the clubhouse still, Marge and Rich have their moment to sort of connect. And we're sort of seeing that everybody's kind of partnering off. Will and Ronnie, Marge and Rich, except for Lily. Lily doesn't have anyone to pair off with, and that comes back to bite her in the butt as she tries to reach out to somebody that she should not reach out to and at all. During the at the clubhouse, Marge and Rich are connecting. She's redressing her eye, and Rich is okay with helping her do that. And she realizes that in this, he's not repulsed by her, by the eye. He had a thing for her before. He still has a thing for her after. He's like, nope, that makes you look cool. Like, I dig it. It's all right. And Marge is sort of starting to soften and saying, like, I was always told through the viewpoint of the patty cakes, I was always with them. I was always told that you were a weirdo. She's not saying this, but this is what's sort of her guard is being let down. She felt that the patty cakes, always said that he was the bad person or a weirdo, but he's great. He's probably the only person who's actually checked up on me and cared about me in this entire moment. Why was I being so rude to this dude before? And so they're chatting back and forth, getting a little bit closer, and they come to the realization that, hey, we need to get this group back together. No matter what happens, we need to get this group back together so that we can go and fight this entity. And they're both like, well, we don't have to convince each other. We're both on the same page. We're together in this. Let's go get Will and Ronnie so that they can be on the same page with us. Dick is wallowing in his sorrows. He's getting quite tipsy and quite drunk in his barracks when Leroy comes to visit him. And Leroy's like, what happened to you? You've been gone for a few days. Nobody can find you. Where have you been? And Dick's like, I needed some time. I saw some stuff down there. Whatever it is that's down there didn't want us there, and we clearly pissed it off. And he goes on to the story about, like, hey, when I was 9, I could see dead people. And my grandmother had a similar thing with me with The Shining, that we were able to sort of lock the dead people away into a box, and put a chain around it, and I kind of put it deep inside my psyche so that I don't have to worry about it. But while I was down there, whatever it is, decided to open that box up and let all that back out. Mainly, I think, for to sort of get Dick off the board. Like he needs him to sort of be not useful because he is the reason why they just came straight to his sewer, straight to his home. They're getting too close, and it's all because of him. So then he needs to shut Dick down. And so now he's giving them this world where he just sees dead people 24/7, and he can't cope. He doesn't think he's going to be able to close it back up again. He wants no parts of whatever it is down there. He's like, look, they won. I'm going to give it to them. I'm done. I'm going to drink and call it a day. I don't need to be a part of this. And Leroy's like, well, you are still an airman. So I would prefer not to pull rank on you and just say, hey, you come back to help. But if not, we're going to make you do your orders, or we're going to pull you out in handcuffs and arrest you. But I'm going to give you the day. I'm going to give you the day. Take some time, get this alcohol out of your system, calm back down. But when I return, we got to get to work because whatever is here needs to be stopped. Leroy then goes home, and Charlotte's like, no, cool, you can stop whatever you want, but I won't be here. Because Charlotte says, I'm leaving. Like, you don't know this, but I got Hank at the black spot. He's there because of me. We're going to go pick him up tomorrow, and then we're going to take him out of the Derry, and then Will and I are going to leave with him. And you can come with us, or not. Whether you do or not is irrelevant to me. We're still doing this. And Leroy's kind of like, I got a job to do. Like, I'm a patriot. I got to do, the mission's not done. And it's Charlotte. This is the first time that you really get to see the difference between who Charlotte and Leroy are. And you get to see what this being a military person of color puts you on several different sides of the line. And I think Leroy really wants to do what's best for his country. He's Captain America. Rah, 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 let's do everything that's best. Charlotte is operating as like, hey, you still are a black man. You still are a person of color. You still are a black man where they don't respect you. And if you weren't wearing that uniform, you would be as useless to them as Hank is. They would throw you away immediately. And so she's like, you stay here, do whatever you got to do whatever's best for the country. I'm going to do what's best for our people. This is a weird thing in that I don't understand. I guess they still have to go to school, but at this point, they've been so truant and just moving however they want to move. But Lily goes back to school, as does Marge and Rich. While at school, Lily gets terrified by a manifestation of her father in the pickle form coming out of her desk, and she starts screaming in the middle of the class, obviously causing a commotion. But she has the dagger. Smart girl. You can call her crazy as you want. She held on to that dagger for dear life. She's not letting that bad boy go. And she has the dagger, and she's like, nope, not today. It goes away, but not before saying two key things that are, I think, important to why Lily makes sort of the decisions that she does. One, she's like, the entity tells him, like, you're alone. You're alone. You've pushed everybody away. You're going to be alone, which triggers for her, I got to go find somebody that I can talk to about this. The second is that saying, you can't come down to kill me. Don't come down here. You're not going to come down here, because the entity is afraid of what she can do with that thing. So it's telling, like, you don't come down. You shouldn't come down here, because I will kill you if you do come down here. While also at school, Rich and Marge have a moment. He gives her a eye patch that he found in his closet to sort of say, hey, this will make it look more normal, a little bit better. It's a moment that, hey, he's continuing to care for her and show her that, yeah, in your oddities now, you're not an oddball or a weirdo. You're just one of us, and we'll take care of you. I'll be your knight. You'll be the parrot. We will make things happen. While in there, though, they are approached by the patty cakes, all three of the members, and they're trying to, like, just recollect Marge. Like, hey, you should be with us, not with these weirdos. She's sitting at the table with Rich, with other sort of quote unquote lesser thans. It's in that moment that Marge stands up for Rich and the others and kind of does a cool thing. I won't really spoil it for you. I feel like you should just watch it. But she shows them, like, no, I don't want any parts of you, and these are my people now. Like, these are who I'm supposed to be with. And I think all the times before, we've seen Marge trying to go back and forth with, like, whether I should be with Lily, whether I should be with Patty, Lily or Patty. Now she feels at one with them, and there's really no deciding. It's like, oh, this is where I belong. These are my people. This is where I'm going to be. Sucks that she had to gouge her eyes out to get there, but she's there. So then Will, Marge, and Rich meet up and they head over to the black spot to go try to convince Ronnie because she's the only one that they really have to talk to. Lily will be a part of the group no matter what. Ronnie is the one who's like, nah, I don't want any parts of her. And so if you can get Ronnie on board, everything else will sort of fall into place. They go to the black spot to give you one more shot to battle with Pennywise. And I think what's important here to note, it's cool that the kids don't give a rat's ass about race. Like they're in there and they're like, oh, this is a cool place. Like I like this. This music is fun. Like they just like being there. Race doesn't come up for them at all. Which sort of just it's a thing in the background, but it tells you that that is a learned behavior as opposed to actually just being racist to begin with. While they're at the black spot, Lily goes and does the most ignorant thing that she could possibly do. She goes to go see Ingrid. Now, in the moment, that's not that big of a deal because, like, for her, Ingrid hasn't done anything wrong. She knocks on Ingrid's door, and there's not an answer. And then she takes her stupid ass inside the house. And that's when you're like, oh, God, Lily, please, for the love of God, why are you doing this? She walks into the house, then walks up to the attic, and then looks at a wedding photo book, a photo album, if you will, and goes through it and sees a photo of what looks to be young Ingrid with a person that kind of resembles Pennywise, but not enough that it's a clear cut, that's who that is. But it kind of gives, Lily the icks. She sort of feels something's wrong or odd with that photo. Then all of a sudden, Ingrid shows up and kind of says, like, are you okay? She's like, all my friends are gone. I'm so alone. And then they hug. And then she clocks a photo of Pennywise, the clown, or someone dressed up as Pennywise, the clown. And that gives her sort of cause for pause, which then Ingrid clocks as she saw it and then sees that she has a recollection of who that photo is. And it's like, oh, you've seen him. You son of a gun. You've seen him. Which then leads us down this entire rabbit hole that Ingrid has sort of been. Ingrid's father was killed while she was young. He was a traveling circus performer who used to dress up like Pennywise the clown. And so she wants to vicariously see Pennywise anytime she can. All these 20 years, she wants to see Pennywise herself, even though she knows that her dad's dead. This gives her some sort of intimacy, closeness to her father that she would not get otherwise. And so she feels like, at the very least, I need to see this. So she's been setting these kids up and putting these kids in positions where they feel afraid, where they can get frightened, to put them closer to the clown, put them closer to Pennywise. And so then we see a flashback sequence, the rest of the top of the scene, where Ingrid was just a candy striper. She overhears Mabel talking to a true doctor about what she saw in the sewers. It clicks that it's Pennywise, and she's like, oh, like, wait, my dad? You saw my dad? And so then she takes Mabel down to the sewers. The Pennywise comes doing his ticks and all that good stuff, comes up to her and is like, hey, Mabel, here's a balloon. And then he looks at Ingrid, and she's not afraid. He's like, hi. And then she just says, Papa, to which Pennywise is like, cool, I clocked that. I'll come back to you, but let me kill this kiddo first. And so they scurry off. Mabel and Ingrid separate by a door that can be opened from the other side. And then Pennywise kills that kid. And Ingrid's sort of there as an accomplice, but not really. Like, she didn't bring Mabel down there to die, but a happenstance happened that she did. And she's kind of going to cover up and not mention what happened to that kid, all because she gets to do and be around something that resembles or holds a sort of a similarity to her dead father. Whew, that girl is nuts. But what's crazy and what's great about the way that Madeline is playing this is that, yes, she's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but she is playing it like everything that she's doing makes sense and it's correct. Like, that's the way you should play. You shouldn't be being like, haha, I'm nuts and all that good stuff. I love the way she's playing it. Like, you would think that in a normal world, she's perfectly fine. Like, she seems very capable. She understands that her dad is dead. She gets it. But she just wants something to sort of have that lasting memory. And anybody who's lost a parent, sanity does have to come in, but there are moments where you're like, I would do anything to just have one more moment to be around my parent. So that's where how she's playing it. She tries to reach out to Lily and like, if all the people here to understand what I'm going through, I thought it would be you because, your dad's dead. And Lily's like, no, the difference is my dad's actually dead. Like, he's gone. There's nothing. He's dead. Like, I don't know what the hell it is you're talking about. And she's like, no, the thing about Derry is that anything that dies is never really truly dead. And Willie's like, nah, nah, he's dead. And then she takes the dagger, slashes her hand, and runs, like uses that as her escape to get the hell up out of there. The kids try again to get Ronnie at the black spot, bring her in. She wants no parts of it. So then they step out of the room, and Will's like, give me one more chance. Let me go talk to her and her father, and let me see if I can talk them in. You guys hang out here. And so Hank and Marge decide to hang out at the black spot. They get some cokes that are a little stronger than they probably normally expect them to be. And then while that's happening at a watering hole for just the white folks of Derry, there's a lot of fervor about Hank still being on the lam, still being on the loose. And they're like, we got to figure out something. He's around here somewhere. We got to find him. And then our former deputy arrives on the scene. It's like, look, I just got an anonymous tip of where he's at. Ingrid, you dirty mother, from a woman, which we all know is Ingrid. And then he lets them know, like, look, I'm not a deputy anymore. I just got relieved of duty from the mayor and everybody. They just took me out of it because they didn't think I was capable of doing anything. So I'm not going to arrest him. But since I do know where he's at and we're all here, how about we just get drunk, sauced up, and go get some guns, pitchforks, and some masks, and go visit that old club they got. And so that's what they go do. We then get the shot back at the black spot where Hank's talking to parents. Still nothing, but Hank and Will are connecting a little bit about Hank is treating Will almost like a suitor for his daughter. It's like, hey, look, if I'm not around, let me sort of run you through the paces to see if you're going to be the person that's around my daughter if I am gone. While that's happening, Rich is asked to play the drums because their actual drummer is drunk, and so they see his drumsticks, and he's like, all right, yeah, I can go play on the drums. He goes, plays on the drums, having a good time. He's turning that bad boy out. Like, he is playing his butt off. He's turning that place out, and he is turning Marge on. Like, she is like, wait a minute, hold on. I got me a nerdy dude who also plays the drums. That's at the jackpot. Like, she's feeling good about life. Will comes back out and it's like, yeah, it's not a go. She's not, but I've gotten closer to them. I know who they are, but yeah, it's not happening. We then see a moment where Dick sort of starts walking through the black spot. But I think it's important to know that it's filmed in a way that he's sort of going through a fog, going through a haze. It doesn't seem like he is present doing that. It seems like he's kind of doing this in a vision, which is important based on what happens at the end here, because the end ends with one of the airmen who helped set up everything here at the black spot is outside poorly courting a young lady when a bunch of cars just start pulling up, and they're all masked up so you can't see who they are, although some of them you can tell by their physical stature and weight of who they are. But they don't say a word. They just get out of the car, and then he tells the young lady to get behind him, and that's how the episode ends. Honestly, probably because I am black, but that's one of the most terrifying things that I think the show has done. That sequence and ending there was just spine chilling. Got me goosebumps and a little on edge, which is great. It's a great way to end the episode. I think it's a really solid episode. You got a little bit more backstory as to why this entity has chosen Pennywise. More so because Pennywise is a clown that a lot of kids can sort of kind of sometimes be friendly with. It's an easier sell to bring more kids to them because, again, this entity feeds on fear and needs kids to be fearful. The kids are the easiest way to get in on that. But it also looks like, in a roundabout way, Ingrid has been feeding these kids to him to sort of keep that connection where she feels whole again. The Dick piece, though, well, that sounds terrible. The Dick side of this thing is, though, I think he was in a vision. And I'm thinking that somehow he may have gotten the word to either Hank or some of the folks there in that black spot that these guys were coming, so to get out of there before whatever harm they do. That's what I'm going off of. That's the theory that I have. Maybe not all of them, but somehow he's giving them a bit of a head start so that they don't get attacked or completely torn up. Not saying the black spot will still exist. It may still get burned down because that's what happens in the book. But I do think that hopefully in this world, that vision allowed him to be like, hey, we need to leave. Something's about to happen. If not, I don't know how the hell they're going to get out of that. But that's the episode. What did you guys think about the 6th episode of Welcome to Derry, called In the Name of the Father? You can leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on X at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast by the same name. That's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the place podcasts. We're there. And like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.